Hey, welcome to the PDO Crash Course. In this video, I'm going to show you PDO, how to learn the PDO from scratch in the PHP. So let's get started. PDO syllabus. So first thing we need to do is to connect to the MySQL database. As you know, the PDO can connect with all the database. We will test just with the MySQL. So let's connect to the database. So here is my PDO example. It's a PHP file and it's open in the Chrome browser in here. So I'm going to the PHP my admin, and here I have a database called test. In the test database I have a table called posts. Let's connect to this database test. So PDO, if you want to connect with the PDO, let's have some certain variables. The first thing we need, that's the host. So what is your host? Our host is local. So our user is root, and the password is empty, and the database is test. So let's create the connection to the PDO. So first thing you need to do is you have to set the DSN, which is the data source name. So what is that? So let's set that. Data source name is equal to what is your database. Here you just say my database is, I say MySQL. So put a colon after that. And what is your host? Host is equal to your host name, and then the terminator, it is the semicolon, and after that you put the DB name. It's equal to your database. So these are the variables that we set it. Host name is a variable called host, and database is a variable called database. So this is our DSN variable that we set in here. So the next thing, we are going to create the object of the PDO. For creating the object of the PDO, you just going to say the new PDO like this. So the first thing you need to say is the data source name, this variable, and the second one is the user, and the third one is the password. So I store this to a variable called PDO or something else that you want. So I connected to the database. So let's check the connection. For example, I'm going to use the if statement in here. I'm just say if PDO is connected. So here I'm going to say that connection, for example, successfully, something like this. Else I'm going to echo error connecting or connection, something like this. I'm going to save, and let's test it on the browser. I'm going to refresh this page. As you can see, connection is successfully to the database called test. So let's clear this text. So the next one we connected to successfully, which let's see the next one. The next one is the run some queries in the test database. This is my test database, and it has a table called posts. Let's see the structure of this table. So it has an ID, which is primary key, and it is an auto incrementer as well. The next one, it says title, varchar 100, body, type text, and other, and it's a varchar 100. So let's browse this table. This is the data in the table that I inserted from here. So let's run some queries to access this data from the PHP with PDO. So here I'm going to say run some queries. Here I just gonna say the PDO. Here from the object of the PDO, you just say the query. In the query you write your SQL query. So I'm gonna say the select all from the table, and the table is posts. So this query will execute. So here the PDO, what you're gonna do, no, sorry please, I'm gonna store it. It's a statement, for example, statement what execute. So let's fetch the data from here. So I'm gonna say fetch. When I say the keyword fetch, it will just fetch the first row in the table. So I'm gonna store it in the variable called, for example, fetched. So here I just wanna do something. For example, let me save this and refresh the browser. As you can see, we have no error until right now. So I'm gonna say the print r, and let's see the fetched. As you can see, it's an array with the ID. It's a 1. It's a title. This is the title, and this is the post body, and many more. So it's just the first row. If you want to fetch all of these rows, you just say the fetch all. So here, let's refresh this. As you can see, we have 2 rows in here, and when we say the fetch all, it will select all the rows on the table. And so let's echo this. For example, in add table, I'm gonna create a table in here in the HTML. So this is our hero, this is our heading. For example, let's see the database ID, title, body, and auto. It's ID, and then it's a title, it's for example body, and the next one is the auto. So this is for our first row. So here I'm gonna say that border is equal to 1, and the next row is it have to be dynamic. So this is the title. I'm gonna say just PHP, open the PHP, and here I echo the fetched variable. From fetched variable, what we are gonna do here, you just say the for example first row, second row, what you want. I say just, for example, the from first row, just echo for me the ID. So whenever I see this on the browser, what it says, right, ID. As you can see, this is the ID that we get. So let's get the I copy and paste this, and here this is for the title. Oh, title, I write incorrectly. This is the title, and let's get the body, and let's get the author. This is the body, and this is the author. So I refreshed this, and this is, as you can see, this is just the first row. If I want to echo out the second row, let's get to throw loop easier. So I'm gonna say just with for each row, for each, for example, fetched as, for example, row. So I open this curly braces in here, and I close this in here. I wanna fetch this, so I want to refresh this. As you can see, this one row repeated 2 times. What does it mean? Because it is not dynamic. This is static. So uh, what we are going to do is we just say that row in here, row, row, and row. Get from row the ID, title, body, and author. I save this and I refresh. As you can see, this is now dynamic. So it's get all the data in here. Now I have in here. This is the post title 2, this is the post title 1. So this is the author John Rose. So, and this is how we run query, and and this is the we fetched. So the next one is fetch query that we fetched in here by fetch. So you can fetch this by with two kinds. For example, two type you can fetch. First one is the fetch by ASOC. For example, this is the default in the PHP. PDO fetch ASOC. This is the default that we didn't set it, and you can tell that the fetch PDO fetch by what? By object. So here, whether you say that PDO fetch ASOC, refresh the page, nothing's happened because it is the default fetch in the PHP PDO. So let's change this fetch. For example, I want to change this fetch by object. I save it and I run. As you can see, this is error. So let's fix this. It is you get the data by what? By fetching by the associative. So let's get from the getting data by fetching the object. We fetched by the object in here. So here you're just gonna say that echo row. Here like this, you treat this row like an object. Row what? Row ID. So this is too different. I'm gonna delete this. So here just gonna you just say that like this. Row author, get the author. This is how you can fetch the data by object. So I'm gonna refresh this. As you can see, these are the posts right now that are fetched by object. So these are this is how you can fetch by ASOC and object. So set attribute to what? Suppose that I want to write another query. Let's move. For example, this is another query I want to write. I just say that this is a query. For example, this is the post, and I'm gonna say where the ID is equal to something like 1, and this is like this, and here I'm gonna fetch this, for example, by ASOC, and I don't want to do this, for example, by fetch ASOC and object in all while I'm fetching. So here, for doing that, I'm just gonna say that here I just set the attribute a default fetching mode. So that is the PDO set attribute. Here I'm gonna say the PDO ATTR means attribute default fetch mode, and the next one is the PDO and fetch by, for example, object. It is by default, it's the object. I don't need to here tell this the object, but you can override this rule as well. For example, I set this attribute like this, and I want here to fetch by ASOC. Here you just need to say PDO fetch ASOC. This will fetch you by the ASOC. So this is the set attribute to fetching by default. So the next one is the prepared statement, prepare and execute. Whenever you want to run your queries, you want to build your website, if you run queries like this, PDO query, and your query is like this, it is not secure, it's unsafe, it's not safe. So whenever you want it to be safe, so what you need to do, you need to learn about the prepared statement. So let's run some queries. For example, I want to run another query, this query, but securely by prepared statement. Here I'm just gonna say the PDO what? PDO prepare. And here you write your query like this, and it is not safe, it's not safe as well. Where, for example, where I'm going to select a specific ID, a specific graph. For example, it's an ID, I'm going to write in the ID in here. It's an ID like this ID. So statement execute. This execute will execute this query. So now you can fetch statement fetch all. This is the one row. I'm going to say just fetch. So it is fetched. I'm going to delete this. This is the ID which comes from the user input, for example. And this is the PDO proper select all from the posts where ID equal to ID, where ID equal to 1. It's going to select the first row. So I'm going to save this, and I'm going to refresh this page in here. What is this? ID, yes, right. So prepare, yes, select all from posts where ID equal to ID. Statement execute, and fetched it will get by the object. Oh yes, right here. Clear this loop. What you just need to do, you just need to say just fetched, get the body, fetched, get the outer. Refresh this. As you can see, this is the title. So this is not the safe way to fetch the queries like this. So I'm gonna say you the secure this as well. To securing this, the first thing you need to do is positional parameters. You can save your query by positional parameters, by getting parameters by their position. For example, here I'm gonna say I'm not gonna do the ID on the, I just put the question mark. So this is a statement, it will get execute, and in execute, in here I put the curly the square bracket like this, and I write the ID in here. This is point to here. For example, whenever I want to save your ID equal to this question mark, and so let's run this query. First I'm going to save this, and I refresh the page. We get the same result. So whenever, for example, I want to have multiple where id equal to question mark and title equal to question mark, and then in here just put the comma, type the title in here. I'm gonna type this literally. So the title, for example, title 1. I refresh the page. As you can see, there's I think nothing selected. So post a title 1. I'm gonna copy this from here. Oh, let's write it in here. Post a title 1. As you can see, this one record is selected. So this is a secure way for doing that by positional parameters. And the next one is the named parameters. Named parameters is a little bit different. So what you just need to do is you just need to do something like here I'm gonna say named params. This is the ID. Select all from the post. We are ID not question mark. Here I'm just say ID. Title not question mark. Here I just say title. So execute ID. Here not you just say that ID. Here you point to this ID like this. You type the ID equal to this ID and then the title equal to this title. So this is how you can do that. So I'm just gonna comment this, refresh in here. As you can see, we get the same result. So this is the named parameter. So let's see the next one. The next one is get row count. For example, I'm gonna do that. The user's input is like this, for example, and nothing's selected, and what the errors are displayed. So here what you're gonna do, you just say if a row is more than 0 row, it means that something selected. So if there's not, don't show the error. So for that, you're just gonna say the statement row count, this method, and let's store it in a variable found rows. I'm gonna say that if found row is, I open the PHP tag in here, I'm gonna say if found row is equal to 0, so do something in here, tell nothing's selected or nothing's found. Else means something's found. I'm gonna open this in here and I'm gonna close this in here like this. I refresh the page, it tells me nothing's found and it don't show me the error. So whenever I write it like one row selected in here, this row is exist ID is 1 and the post title is post title 1. So I'm gonna refresh the page, and as you can see, one row is selected and it shows me on the table. So the next thing, this is the row count, and the next thing, the next one is the insert data. Let's insert some data in the table. So I'm just gonna delete this comment in here. Insert data. Here I'm just gonna say this is the I write the query in here. Insert into the posts and the values. To which columns you wanna insert? ID is auto increment. I'm gonna insert in the title, body, and author. Title, body, and author. And the values are, I'm gonna use in the real world project is a lot we use I use is mm, named parameters. So this is the title, I say, this is the body, and this is the author. So let's prepare for this query PDO prepare, and you put the query in here. So it's a what? It's a statement that will insert, and let's execute this statement execute. So let's put those values in here. I'm gonna write here like this. For example, the title is for example title, and the body is the body, and the author is the author. So let's put the user input data in here. For example, this is our title, this is our body, this is our author. Authors, for example, titles, for example, post test title, for example, test title, body is test body, and the author is test author. So whenever it gets executed, and in the last I'm gonna say that echo what? Record added successfully. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna refresh this page. As you can see, record added successfully. So let's see in the database in here, post title t, text, test body, and test author is added successfully in the database. So this is how you can insert your data in the database. So the next one is the get the last ID. This is a very useful technique. This is a very useful method to get the last ID. For example, I'm a user on your website, and I go to the sign up page. I sign up myself on your website, and you want to redirect me from the sign up page to home page, and you want my ID. And on there, you just say, when you insert the data on the database, you just call this to get you just call this method, and that is the last ID method, and by this you can access to my ID. So let's test that. Let me comment it out like this. So get last ID. So no, I don't comment it. Here I just say that a BR in here, and I say, and the last ID is, and here I'm gonna say that the PDO insert last insert ID, last insert ID. This is the method. So let's put the test title, for example, 2, body 2, author 2. This would be the next row. I'm gonna, as you can see, record added successfully, and the ID is, and the last ID is 4. As you can see, this is the ID 4, like this. You can, in the real world project, you can put it as in a variable, and you can redirect to the another page, or that can be home page or something else like that. So this is the get the last ID. The next one is the insert multiple data. Whenever you want to insert some multiple data, what you need to do, you need to do something like, again, statement execute and you write your queries in here like that. And this is for the, for example, this is for the first title, first title, first body, and the first author. This is for the first rows, first user input. Oh, notice. For second, this is for the second, for example. Right now, so this is body one, author one, and this is the two. You can add many rows. So here, before executing, what you need to do is you just need to do to start, means begin transaction, and at the end here you need to commit the transaction here like this. Records added successfully. I don't really get this. Like this. So I save it. I refresh the page. As you can see, records added successfully. 2 new records should be added. Here, as you can see, these 2 new records added in one time refresh. So the next one is the update data. How you can update data? Let's comment this. Update data. Here you write your query in here. So here you just say update which table posts. You set the title, for example, equal to what? Equal to title. I use the named parameters. So the next one is the body equal to what? Equal to body, and the last one is the author is what? Author. So where id is equal to what? It is id. So let's get prepared to this statement. PDO prepare this query and store in the statement variable, and this statement variable get execute, and you write the values in here. So the title is the title, and you just say something like this, for example here. Yes, the title, body, author. So this is, and the last one is the id. Sorry, this is the id, and this is the id that you want to update. So that is the id is, for example, I want to update the id 1 with the data of this, the second title, second body. What will gonna update this post will update in here. So I'm gonna before that, let's say that the echo out the record updated successfully. So record updated successfully. So here I just refresh this. Record updated successfully. The first row should be updated. As you can see, second title, second body, second author. This is updated. So this is the update, and the last and this one is the delete data. How we can delete the data from the database? Let's delete data from the database. Delete data. So write your query in here. and that is delete from what? From posts where id equal to id. So let's get prepared for this query and store it in a variable called statement. And this could be any variable that you want, so I allowed to use the statement variable. So this statement variable get what? Get execute, and you put the data, the id in here, which id you want to what? Delete. For example, I want which id? For example, let's delete this id 6. So id is equal to 6. Delete from post where id is equal to 6. The 6 will put in here. So after getting execute, I just echo out the record deleted successfully. So I'm gonna refresh this page. The record deleted successfully. So here I refresh the browser. As you can see, the id6 is not in here, that is deleted. So the next one is nothing. Don't forget to practice. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video.